impact in the game.
Give me a break, need another life. Oh, need another life, life. Give me a break, need another life.
League leaders Arsenal. Boy, that feels different. They take a trip to the King Power Stadium in Leicester today for their matchup against Leicester City, who this week are starting a farewell tour of one of their greatest players of all time. In 2016, this famous Leicester City team, well, it was a very different one back then, won the Premier League against the odds. Triumph, sadness and relegation have all followed this club since then, and through that almost 9-year stretch, one man has stayed to bring them back up to where they are today. That's Jamie Vardy, and this week he announced he will be retiring from the game. One of the greatest players to ever play the game at club level. Jamie Vardy, I don't think ever got an England cap to his name, and if he did, it was probably in friendly matches. But he's certainly one of the greatest players to play for Leicester City, for some mirroring and putting him over Gary Lineker to some degree, and that could be a fair comparison. It's fair to say that Jamie Vardy will get, hopefully, a huge send-off. Today he makes the bench, and today he begins his road to the end of his career. Bit unfortunate then that they've come up against an Arsenal side fighting for the title. But as the underdogs proved in 2016, you never count this great club out of anything. Niles Maddison will start in goal today. A couple of other people from the Leicester City winning team, not which of which Wilfred Ndidi, he does start today. Jamie Vardy is one of only a few people left of that Leicester City title winning team. He makes the bench. For Arsenal, it is almost a full strength side. Couple of changes. Villarreal comes in for Saliba, but of course it is the front three, the deadly looking front three of Bukayo Saka, Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak to add more goals. I think for this game we're going to be actually viewing a different camera. We're going to be using the EA Sports game cam for this match. I actually forgot it was a thing in the game. We've been using the tele broadcast camera all season. So we're going to give you a special look at this one. I actually do really like this camera view for the last couple of years. I think we'll stick to what we know for the rest of the season, but it's just going to get a nice early look at this one. And that's not the only thing that really happened this week. Earlier this week, Everton pulled the plug on Sean Dyche, and he has been replaced by guess who? Only David Moyes. He's been given the job to save Everton for their one final season at Goodison Park. Couldn't think of anyone better, to be completely honest. Everton sitting in 16th at the moment, and it's a little late to be probably switching managers in the middle of a relegation battle, but if one man can save them, it was the man that led them to such great heights at one point in David Moyes. So let's hope for Everton and for David Moyes the great escape can be witnessed for their final time at Goodison Park. And as we have explained before and we'll reiterate again, we'll be given that final game at Goodison Park. Come what may, we will be bringing you live coverage of the final game at Goodison Park between Everton and Southampton towards the end of the season. We will try, maybe, and get Jamie Vardy's final game at Leicester City 2. We'll see if we can get that going for us all as well, to see one last time one of Leicester City's greatest strikers, if not the greatest striker of all time. Certainly the Premier League, as that proved in 2016. Jamie Vardy, of course, went on a double-digit game run of goal scoring that broke the record that Van Nistelrooy had held for so long. So it was a catalyst for that title winning. It was all clinched and hung up, tied up when Tottenham Hotspur drew with Chelsea, and that gave Leicester the title. Jamie Vardy, will his number 9 be retired at the end of his career? I wouldn't be surprised if it was, to be honest. Football isn't as high on jersey retirements as it is with, say, basketball. But Jamie Vardy may just receive that distinction sometime in the near future. I think he's a man that truly deserves it. Well, today, back on the pitch, things are very different now. Leicester have come up from last season when they won the championship, and they are currently 14th, I believe, 8 points clear of the relegation zone. So, on that kind of stat, you'd think they're safe. They are, but only really for now. Things can change. Still plenty of time left to be played. And that doesn't go for just the bottom of the table. It goes for the top 2. And we'll focus back onto that today. Arsenal still leading by 5 points out of Manchester City. Hit a bit of bump in the road with the Carabao Cup elimination, but hit back with an emphatic win over Spurs, knocking them out of another competition this season. And now it's down to them to fight for 4th with Liverpool as well, as the top 3 have pretty much not raced away entirely yet, but they do. It is a sizable gap between 1st and 4th, for example. I think it's over 10 points now, because the first 3, especially Arsenal and Manchester City, have been thoroughly dominant this season, losing only once or twice respectively in the league, that is. Well, out of a title win, they were hit with tragedy when their owner was tragically involved in a helicopter accident that had him pass away, and a couple other passengers too. He suffered relegation, I think, a year or so later. But Jamie Vardy is one of those players who have stayed there the whole time to bring them back to where they are today. A lot of people expected a lot of that Premier League winning team to find a new club at the brink of their relegation, but Jamie Vardy stayed, much as the great character that he is. And I think that's another reason why his jersey should probably be retired, because no one will ever reach the heights and stay with the club like Jamie Vardy had. A fantastic player. It's just a shame he never really reached the same levels on the international level, but England have always been known to struggle in international tournaments, and I think Jamie Vardy was rarely capped for England anyway, which is a bit of a surprise when you think about it. And, well, it's a great place to be, a great football club. Certainly been here a couple of times myself for various days out reasons, so I haven't really seen this place. And another game at the King Power Stadium will follow this one, as you can see, Leicester taking on Brentford. Quite the irony that just a few games ago we saw Manchester United taking, Arsenal rather, taking on Celtic, and Kasper Schmeichel, who has hopped about a bit since he left. I think he was more moved on, to be honest. I don't think Kasper ever wanted to really leave, but obviously Leicester were probably rebuilding for the future following relegation. Like we said, Jamie Vardy stayed to be the catalyst that he's always been. And indeed, he's another one. And of course, the save out of David Ryan. And Carter. And get past Gabriel is almost a very difficult task to do. Nice from Saka. And his man beat with pace. Isak's heading towards the box. Odegaard is there. That's a good save. Well, a very different looking Leicester City team from 9 years ago. Likes of Wes Morgan, also moved on as well. But that 2016 title-winning team will be the stuff of legend that people will talk about for years to come. It was a true underdog story that every fan, neutral fan, and even some fans of some other clubs who weren't competing for titles or trophies that season, even they turned their attention to Leicester City and wanted them so well to win that league, and they did. Oh, Gyökeres, a great header there. Until they were mathematically eliminated, I don't think the only people that probably didn't want them to win were Spurs fans, who were in contention at that point. But then, when it was mathematically possible, I'm sure the Spurs fan even gave them blessing as well. Because it really was a true underdog story in an era where Manchester City, in particular, and Chelsea at the time were thoroughly dominating the Premier League in that period. And even you could throw in, maybe in a bit earlier time, you could throw in Manchester United as well. A league that was dominated by the top four, and then the kind of was broken by Manchester City. Leicester were really the underdogs. And they provided us with one of the greatest seasons ever to take place. And then it was pretty much back to normality. The likes of Manchester City in recent years winning almost 4 on the bounce and contending for a 5th. But Arsenal look to be breaking that streak at this very moment. And this will be where more questions will be asked, and more questions we'll find answers to today. If Arsenal keep winning from here, then the Carabao Cup loss will be a distant memory that won't really be focused on. News coming out of the Champions League, by the way. Arsenal will be taking on Bayern Munich after the draw. So that'll be a very tasty fixture up against their former nemesis who once played for Spurs. And I'm, of course, talking about Harry Kane. Interesting man in the midfield today, Harry Weeks, captain for Leicester. I think he joined with Spurs, a season ago. And now he's part of this Leicester team. And there he is on the ball there. Bon Murte now. Bollieu. Here. Havertz. Trying to tackle, and Leicester come 3 here. Here's Mavidi. And shot straight at Raya. Trying to find a way past Mavidi, but didn't do it. But he passed back to his teammate. Gabriel. Another brilliant pass. More brilliant passing from Arsenal. When they turn up the gears like this, very few can stop them. Gyökeres into Bukayo Saka. And now Odegaard. He's going to put it in, but Okuji, I think that was, is going to head away. Mavidi is going to beat Jacqueline Rice for pace all day long. He's gone. Yora's with him. And Gabriel heads that one away. Brilliantly done once again. That defense for Arsenal has been absolutely stellar for 90% of the year so far. There's someone gone down. Leicester will play on with the ball. Here. And the Leicester player is struggling to get to his feet, but I think he already has now. But here comes Leicester again. And here is Hocho with a great save by David Raya. And now Boamute is going to take this corner. The Leicester player that went down is okay. Here's Wiggs. Here's Eric into Mavidi. And brilliantly done up to the shot. Well, brilliantly brought down. He probably could have taken an extra step there and maybe turned to settle for the shot. But unfortunately, he rushed it a bit. Well, in that title-winning year, you could find no better atmosphere than Leicester City. These fans probably couldn't believe it at the time. Many of them probably weren't even... well, they probably were watching at this point. It was only 9 years ago, to be fair. Probably couldn't believe it was happening. Football truly is sometimes where the unbelievable happens. Well, soccer hasn't really had much of the ball, so I think slow day at the office would be a bit of an unfair statement. Hasn't really had a lot of the ball, to be fair. It's been a fairly even game, to be fair. Leicester probably just slightly on top, though. Very slightly. They probably had a couple more chances curated than Arsenal have in this first half. Definitely I'm a big fan of this camera. You can actually see a lot more from this one. Hopefully the RO coming through, and another great save by Riot. Looks like he's on for one of those games. And, Ben White will get the throw. So some big news this week. Arsenal draw against Bayern Munich in the last 16 of the Champions League. David Moyes has taken over Sean Dyche's managerial duties at Everton, and Jamie Vardy will be announced he hanging up his boots at the end of the season. And what a career he's had. Defending here by Gabriel. Keeps the ball, passes back to his keeper. Well, you've got to give Leicester credit. They've really given Arsenal a good game so far. Keeping it at 0-0 is an achievement for a team that's been free scoring, but Odegaard has found Saka, and here they come. Isak is onside. Yes, he is. It's a goal. It looked offside to me, but it is going to count. And there you go. The counter-attack from Arsenal again. They've done very well, Leicester. We probably put a commentator's curse on them. I do apologise if that ended up being the case. I think Isak is offside here. I really do. I really think Isak is offside by the time the ball was played. I don't think we're even going to get VAR to check it. I think that's goal 28 then for Alexander Isak. Probably some luck in it because I think he's a long way offside. But no one's going to check it and no one saw it. So it stands. And, well, he is just 8 goals away from the scoring record of 36. I think it might be even 38. Set by Erling Haaland. I'm going to have to definitely research that at the end of this game. I'm going by what the game told us a few weeks back. And Lenny Yaro has done very well. He's really fitted into this Arsenal system almost effortlessly somehow. And it's great to see. Because Manchester United is not an environment you really want to be in right now. It's not a toxic environment, it's just very low morale all around, really, what's going on. Here's Isak and Henderson. Oh, is that a penalty? No. It's a half-time whistle. And, well, Leicester have fought valiantly, but once again, Alexander Isak is on the score sheet. No surprises there. And because of that, Arsenal lead up by a goal to 0. Welcome back to the second half here at the King Power Stadium. It's certainly one of the best stadiums to be a part of, even if I've never been here personally. It's always been a great place to come to watch and witness football. And it certainly was the case during the 50-60 season, title winners. But today, they're up against the Premier League champions-elect for now in Arsenal, and are down by a goal to 0, thanks to another goal from Alexander Isak, his 28th of the season. I did do my research in the half-time break, and that goal-scoring record of 36 set by Erling Haaland is correct. So Alexander Isak is just 8 goals away from equaling it, and 9 goals from breaking it. Incredible goal-scoring return for Alexander Isak, whose most goals his season has probably been around the 15-20 mark. He's almost kind of doubled that at least. And here he is again. And he finds a way through and forces a save from the keeper. Alexander Isak has been on tremendous goal-scoring form, and he's pretty much been scoring goals for fun from minute 1 against Tottenham Hotspur, where he made his debut at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It seems so very long ago now, because it was. He has pretty much been scoring pretty much a goal a game ever since. He's had a couple of a few hat tricks to help him get there, but literally scoring for fun. Arsenal's next match will be against West Ham United in one of the lesser London derbies. More London derby than North, of course. Anderson didn't really know much about that shot, but he saved it. So if Arsenal can win these next 2 or 3 games, they certainly will be on the way to another title, their last league title. They keep saying it. Their last league title was the Invincible season. It's unbelievable to think about. That was back in 2004. It's been a very, very long, almost 20-year plus wait for a league title on the N5, but right now it really looks like that is the prime destination for the Premier League this season. And my goodness, would this Arsenal team deserve it? They played some of the most beautiful football, and Isak has been instrumental in all forms of scoring. Saka, and there's another one for him as well. And there's another one. There's the tangible too. Saka and Isak again. What a strike partnership Arsenal have got here. And even Gyökeres has got a couple as well. And it's more for Trossard and Martinelli overall, but... And another beautiful pass from Odegaard. And Saka, you're not going to stop him. And, well, more and more as the games go by and Arsenal continue to score and win, more fingers and more parts of the fingers will be put on that trophy. It really does seem to be heading in that direction. I think they've still got to face Liverpool once more in the league, so that will be an interesting encounter. I think they'll have Manchester United at some point in March. I don't think Arsenal have anything really to worry about when it comes to fighting Manchester United these days. Saka's gone down. Of course, Mikel Arteta will probably still in his load management kind of mindset. Probably going to take Isak and Saka off at some point this half, just to protect them from injuries as much as he can. Especially considering they've lost Martinelli for the rest of the season. And here is Gyökeres, and that is 3-0. And that is a goal made from Arsenal's front three. Isak, Saka and Gyökeres all scoring. And Isak can even be the assist man. Look at that. More beautiful football from Arsenal. It really is reminiscent of the 2000s to mid-2000s when Arsenal were playing people off the park. And very few could stop them. It definitely is looking like that way now. Well, it won't be an invincible season. Manchester City made sure of that at the Etihad. But if that is the only loss Arsenal do have in the league this season, then it is almost as good as. There's Fatu. They're trying to make an instant response. And David Raya has already reached, I think, 11 or 12 clean sheets over the course of the Premier League this season. I don't think he's kept a clean sheet in any of the cup competitions, however. Neto has 2 to his name in the Champions League, don't forget. I think 1 against Bolton too, in the Carabao Cup match. Arsenal, of course, out of that competition and have been drawn against Chelsea in the next round. Bayern Munich in the Champions League, that will be a tough ask, even for Arsenal. They've not wholly struggled in Europe this season, but they did suffer a very hefty defeat at Barcelona, or Real Madrid, my apologies. But that was the only time they lost in the league phase, so there is some hope that can come from that. Nice to Isak. Isak with another explosion of pace. Alexander Isak straight at the keeper. The kid has not stopped running since he played in an Arsenal shirt. He's covering every blade of grass and still being able to score an abundance of goals. But today, it's been all about all the front three, to be honest. No tackle from Gabriel. He certainly should install Yara with some confidence. A young player playing with a defensive wall that Gabriel is, and Saliba as well. Here's Saka. And here is Isak. Harry Winks, good interception. Leicester trying to come forward. 4-2. Was tackled by Shinchenko. Probably should have been a foul, to be in all honesty. Beautiful ball over the top for Alexander Isak, and he forces a save with the keeper. He's done nothing. Alexander Isak can't do at the moment. As Leicester bring on their hero, or at least one of them, Jamie Vardy, is making an appearance for the final 20 minutes of this game. Probably the final game he will play against Arsenal. And here's Gyökeres, and there's a foul against Gyökeres and a Leicester free kick. And it was Palanjaro that went off, of course. Even though David Raya and Arsenal have been great defensively today, it would be great to see Jamie Vardy get a goal, to be honest. Saka to Odegaard, and off the post. And Arsenal once again in free scoring mode. But Fatu now running away with it. And Jamie Vardy has kept every stride with him, but Gabriel is there to snuff out the danger and hit it away. What a shame. Arsenal once again just too strong for their opponents. And now Saka is just racing past everybody. Oh, missed it. And Banamute is going off. Not really entirely sure who for yet. I think it's a double substitution from Arsenal. Bukayo Saka and Kai Havertz are making way for Reece Nelson and Fabio Vieira respectively. And more of that load management kicking in from Mikel Arteta. He's worked wonders for his team this season. Now they have reaped the benefits because Saka and Isak in particular have been scoring for fun. Isak is closing in on that scoring record. Most goals by a team, I believe, was Manchester City with 106. And I think Arsenal are going to be pretty much on course to eclipse that if they haven't already. They've scored so many goals. But I would not be surprised if they actually reach that before too long. We'll have a look at the table later. Isak. And they're certainly going to reach 30 for Isak this season. Odegaard. Well, it's been all of Arsenal's front three that have scored today. It's not just one. But that's the beauty of this Arsenal side. Isak might have 28, but everyone has been putting their own shifts in. Trossard got 8 in one game to make history. Shinchenko even got one, a game or so back. And Yaro made an attempt of his own there. Vidi. Vidi cut out by Ben White. Shouts for handball, but not really. 9 minutes to go, and Arsenal have clearly been the better team since the second half started. And look to be keeping another clean sheet for David Raya. And he is very much on course to win the Golden Glove at this point. Last season it was Erling Haaland that did the scoring, and David Raya that did the clean sheets. We have 2 Arsenal players this year. And that is a red card for Kale Bokori. And I think that's probably deserved. In fact, I think that is. That's last man and a really rash challenge on Alexander Isak. I think that is very much deserved, and Leicester going down to 10 men just to sour the spirits today even further. But of course, as is tradition here at the King Power Stadium, no Leicester fan has left their seats, because these fans never leave their team hanging for the end of a game. These guys stay till 90 minutes, more or less, every time. Some do probably go to beat the rush hour traffic, but even still, the high majority always stay until the final whistle, and that's how it always should be. No matter your team and no matter which circumstance your team is in, you stay for the whole game. That's what I was always brought up to be pretty much believe as a football fan back in the day. Even though I didn't really go to games myself, I only went to one Manchester United game in my younger days. And that's the only one I've ever been to be fair. But in all the Arsenal games I've attended over the last 2 or 3 seasons, I think 2 especially, and the missus always stayed till the final whistle. It's just what you were brought up to do in a very different football world back then, to be fair. Maybe that had a lot to do with it. Whatever the case, Arsenal have been the better side. All 3 of their marquee scorers have scored today. Saka's been substituted, of course. But another goal for Saka, another goal for Isak, and even Gyökeres has got one on the act now. He's played the perfect support role on the left wing for what would normally be Trossard or Martinelli. Martinelli, of course, out for the season with that ACL injury, and we wish him a speedy recovery. But his Arsenal side have really coped very well without him and Moreno for some time now. Well, Leicester haven't really threatened David Raya this afternoon. I think they have pretty much looked second best to the preliminary title contenders and the table leaders. Arsenal have played like a top-of-the-table team. And here is Reece Nelson with no one back for City. It's a good save by the keeper. And the clock winds down to the 5-minute mark. And now it's just a question of the referee blowing the final whistle and confirming the result. There we go. Arsenal carrying a vital 3 points to respond to the EFL Cup loss against Manchester City. And even if Arteta was trying to maybe play less of that game to focus on this title challenge, if he does win it at the end, it'll be a masterstroke. And Arsenal certainly looked at the top of the table today. 3 goals, 1 from Isak, 1 from Saka, and 1 from Gyökeres. And another brilliant defensive display. Not many teams are scoring against this one. Leicester 0, Arsenal 3. So let's take a look at all the weekend's action and what that means for the table. A crucial clash at the Etihad we'll get to in a second. Brighton 1, Chelsea 2 in the fight for 4th. Liverpool consolidating 4th with a 3-1 win over Wolves. Fulham 1, Nottingham Forest 2. That'll be good for their survival hopes. West Ham and Brentford playing each other for 1-1 draw, and that's the same situation between Aston Villa and Ipswich. Manchester City 2-3, Newcastle United 2. Now puts Newcastle 10 points behind the leaders Arsenal. Southampton 1, Bournemouth 4. Crystal Palace giving a losing start to David Moyes' return to Everton, beating them by a goal to 0. Spurs continue to inflict misery on Manchester United, winning by 4 goals to 2. So it's still 5 points between the top two, but now Newcastle are starting to lose ground to the point where even Liverpool could catch them for third in a remarkable turn of events there, and the Spurs as well, up in there in fifth. Chelsea sixth, followed by Villa. Brighton in eighth now. Brighton have really shot up recently. West Ham ninth, and Brentford completing the top 10. They're followed by Bournemouth, and that means 12th actually now is Manchester United. As well, it doesn't seem to be any sign of the season abating for them. Now Fulham are only 2 points behind them in 13th. Bit of a gap to Leicester City, thanks to them losing to Arsenal today. Highest 15th, ahead of Nottingham Forest, who won actually, and it got back to Everton as a result. It's very close at the bottom, isn't it? Everton 18, Ipswich 17, Southampton 16, and Wolves 11th with an outside shot. But still a lot of work to do for them.